Let's talk about our start pattern. Starting from square hollow pattern, you can see square hollow pattern means empty inside the inner loop. So what is outer loop and inner loop? So we consider two variable, which is I, which is considered a outer loop, j, which is considered a inner loop. So how outer loop works, how I works is it will print from top to bottom, whereas j will print, which is also inner loop, it will print from left to right. So you can see this is row 1, row 2, 3, 4, 5, as much as you want to write in your n term. So I also mention a variable which is n, where we basically put our square, how many rows and columns square you need. So basically I put 5, and here 1 2 3 4 5, we have 5 row and 5 column, 1 2 3 4 5. So we have understand outer loop and inner loop. So let's see what this basically is telling us. So row, which is our I, which is starting from 1, so it is starting from 1. Column is also starting from star 1 and ending at n. I also starting from 1 and ending at n, which is basically our value 5, square value. So here let's understand the row meaning, what it is telling us. So I is equal to 1, we have to write is equal to 1, which is basically it is starting from 1. And last row, what it is ended, because we don't have here inner loop, that's why basically we will only see first row and last row, because we have only first row and last row. We only basically have 2 rows and 2 column, right? We basically have 2 row and 2 column. Inside the pattern we have a hollow, empty. Due to that, we only see the meaning of row from first and last. So first row we have starting from 1 and ending at what? N, which is basically we have mentioned a value 5. So I is equal to n. So let's see. Similarly, we will see the column meaning as well. Our column also starting from 1. So j is equal to 1 and ending at n, which is basically a 5. So this is simple meaning, right? And I have also mentioned some coding here. So first of all, we have to mention our I, j, and also mention our variable n, which already written our already considered the value 5. And then we will start our for loop. I'm using a for loop here. So for I is going to start from 1, which is basically here 1, and I is less than or equal to n, which is basically value of 5. And every time we have to do the updations in for loop. What we have to do? Indications, conditions, and then updations. This is also very important, updation. After updations we'll go, this is our outer loop. Outer loop is completed. Now let's see a inner loop. So in inner loop, which is basically a j, a column, in that scenario we will start from 1, which is basically it is started from 1 here, and it will continue the loop up to n, which is j is less than or equal to n. And every time the loop continue, the updation will also increase by 1, right? Then it will print the star. So in this code, in this block of code, what it's going to print? It's going to print our 1 2 3 4 5 to, so here it's going to print the square pattern, not a hollow pattern. It's going to print square pattern because we have only indicating a loop. We have not put any condition, right? So if we put a conditions like before, okay, so like before I told you, if we put a conditions which is I is equal to 1 is equal to n, so if we put this condition, then only it's going to print out the hollow pattern. For this pattern, whatever we have write a block of code is going to print a square pattern. So how it's going to print? So if I is equal to 1, 1 is less than or equal to n, which is basically a 5. It's true. If it's true, then it will going to print what? Star. Again it will go to the second loop, in inner loop, which is j is equal to 1. 1 is less than or equal to n. It's true. It's going to print 1, not this one. So 1 column, right? So every time it will print this true, right? This is true, then it will print star. Again, if it's true, again it will go here. So again it will go and then it will update it. So in updations, I is equal to 2. If 2 is less than or equal to n, then print our has. It's true? Yes, it's true. Right? If it's true, again it's going to go for the outer loop. It's going for an inner loop, and again it will print it. So similarly, it's going to print a square pattern, not a hollow. So to print a square hollow pattern, you simply need to cancel. Okay, so let's remove this one. We'll write it again, but for that reason we have to write a condition. So what condition we can use? If else conditions. In if, we can mention I is equal to 1, right? Or, why we put or? Because in or, if any one condition is true, then it will gonna print the star. In and, it have to be true in every condition. It must be true. That's why we put or. Again, if I is equal to n, in that case j is equal to 1 or is equal to n. So in that case what we can do is print simply our star, right? Okay, let's start our example of square hollow pattern, which we have already explained in our copy. So starting from this one, we will first of all declare our variable, which is I, j, and n. Let's put our n variable, which is going to be our square size, and then starting from outer loop, which is basically I, which is our row. So if I is equal to 1, this is our indication. So if I is less than or equal to n, this is our condition. Then to our increment, and for our outer loop, starting from j is equal to 1, if j is also is less or lesser than or equal to n, in that scenario do the increment, right? So let's see how does this print, because we have mentioned. Okay, let's mention the star here. So to break our line, you need to print. So to end the line or to break the line, we have to simply write \n just to end our line. It's very important. Let's see what it's going to print. So it's going to print our square pattern, not a square hollow pattern, because we have not put a condition over here. Because if I is starting from 1, then it should be stopping our loop to 5, and inner loop also. In inner loop we have not mentioned our conditions. Now to mention that conditions, we have to start from, let's start, isn't it? So starting from this one, let's put our condition, which is a if else. So in if conditions, basically if I is equal to 1 or I is equal to n or j is equal to 1 or j is equal to n, in that case simply print the star. If any of these conditions are true, print the star. Else print what we need, a hollow. So that's why we put a empty to print our square. So this is our conditions, and we will print. So we have print our. So next topic is our number triangle, which is basically 1. So in each step you can see 1 2 2 3 3 4 4. So it's a repeating number. So in number triangular we have seen here. So this is our row 1, this is our row 2, 3, and this is our final row 4. So here we can see our in each step we have a repeating number 2 2 3 3 4 4, and in each step you can also see that the space is decreasing and number is increasing, right? So our space is decreasing and our number is increasing. So here, so for rows we can simply write, so our loop is, so for simply we can write I is equal to 1. Then in that scenario, so I is equal to the 4. Let's take our variable I, j, k, and n is equals to 4. I will explain this too as well. So this is our variable, declaring variable. So n is our 4. That's why, so n is less than or equal to n, then increment. So this is for our rows. Now we can see the spaces. To manage these spaces, we are going to use j for our spaces. And you can also see for spaces there is also something like in each steps it's decreasing. So it's decreasing by n minus I, right? So space is equal to n minus I. It's decreasing n minus. So n is our 4. I means row 1 means 1. So it's 3. So every time you can see our row is decreasing, and we can clear our spaces. Like in this row 1 we have 3 spaces, n minus I, right? This is our concept. So it's for space we can simply write n minus I, which is basically n is 4, row I means 1. So here is 3 spaces. Now again, if I test for 2, row 2, n means our 4 minus 2 is 2. So there is a 2 spaces. Here is 3 minus 4 minus 3, there is 1 spaces. 4 minus 4, there is 0 spaces. So this is how we can cover our spaces. So I means rows, J is for spaces. Now we will see the K concept. So what is K? So K is a loop. It will decide how many times to print. So K is equal to for the I. So how many? So I will decide what number to print, and K will decide how many times to print. Right? So if it says 1, then K, for K is equal to 1. So K is less than or equal to what? I. Right? Because K is directly connected to the I. Right? So for that reason, K will decide how many times to print. So this is a loop, and this is, it will tell what number to print. So if I is 1, then it will print how many times? 1. If it's say 2, it will print 2 times. If it's say 3, it will print 3 times. If it's say 4, it will print up to 4 times. So we have understood the rows, right? For rows we have understood J is for spaces, right? So first of all, I is for rows and J is for spaces and K is for, so K is for how many times, it will decide how many times to print, and n means our value. So let's see this all our, okay, let's start our number triangular. Here first of all, we will declare our I variables J, and also we're gonna take K. So I is for rows, J is for spaces, and K is for how many times it is going to print. So this it will decide the loop, and also we're going to mention our variables and values. Okay, for after this we can just go into the loop. So for rows, I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to, so if I is less than or equal to n, in that scenario we will increment it. After incrementing it, we will again write for the spaces. We need a spaces, so for that reason we write J is equal to 1, J is less than or equal to n minus I, as we have already mentioned it, why it is going to do, what it is going to do that. So it is going to maintain a space between the rows, right? So you can see here, you can simply write here nothing, because we want to empty. Now we have finished our row and our spaces. Now let's go for the key variable, which is, it will decide how many times to print. So for K is equal to 1, K is lesser than or equal to I, because I is going to tell what to print, and K will decide how many times it is going to print. So this makes sense here. So here print F. So here you can simply print, okay, let's mention out the data type, right? Mention out the data types, and then I'm gonna tell you one thing, why I have not given a space there, and what if I give a space in here, what is going to happen. So we will see that as well. So after this, let's print. So we'll print this one as usual to break the line. So you can see we have formed the right angle triangle, which is basically why it is happened, because I have not given a space. It hides the spaces. Due to that, if I give here spaces, you can actually check it. So it's going to be this one. So this is